You know, there's a couple things I just need to get off my chest. I mean, at this point, y'all know that I'm sensitive, right? I've been dealing with a lot of things, probably a lot longer than I expect or hoped. I'm 39 now. I live with my mother. I'm not, I don't have a career. I'm happy. I could definitely be healthier. But it's just, I don't know what happened where, I just don't really care about the superficial things. Like, I don't remember if my parents ever encouraged me to, be this independent man or whatever, because it's like I've always had, independent men in my family, in my life, and I always had dreams, big dreams. I said this all the time, where I have a lot of aspirations, but my ambition might not meet up my aspirations. I can, like, just thinking back when I was young, like real young, elementary school young, there was things that I wanted to be, things that I wanted to do that I haven't. There's been things that I wanted to be, things that I wanted to do that I have. But, at this point in my life, I'm actually reading The Way of a Superior Man, which is, pretty good so far. I'm on, like, the 4th chapter, but I like to take my time when I'm reading things. Like, sometimes I'll probably read a chapter a day, or maybe even a couple of chapters a day, or even just maybe, like, throughout the week, I'll, breeze through it, read it, dissect it, reflect on it. But, I was thinking about something, and, I was like, man, I'm not 100% sure if it's the lack of drive, the lack of motivation, the lack of interest, but it's like, man, I've just been cool. I'm far from lazy. I will say that my work ethic is, it's phenomenal. It's just certain things. It's like I'm into a lot of different things. I be distracted by certain stuff that I enjoy watching. Like, I look at a lot of YouTube videos. I, write a lot of music. I just got back into writing my poetry. I podcast, of course, I know that. I do a lot of different things that I enjoy, and it's not really necessarily about making a profit about it. Maybe my creativity has a certain, limit, because I'm not on that business model. Like, I don't believe in charging people or selling hope. If it's something that people need, then I don't feel like you should charge them. But that's just me personally. But, there are certain skills that I might have acquired, might not have been certified, but I've got the skill. And because a lot of people have to, stand on trusting the skill, the ability, because, again, like I said, I don't have no degree. I've been to school for IT. So I know some of these things. I've been to school for cybersecurity, so I know some cybersecurity things. I've been to school for HVAC, so I know certain HVAC things. But I don't have that paper to say that I'm qualified to do this job. And because of that, I don't have faith in myself to put myself out there and be like, look, I'll do this for this amount of money. Because if I mess up, then like, no risk, no reward. I understand that, but it's also like, I can't afford to be sued. I can't afford to, do this. Even if I know how to do it, it's like I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% certified to where I can promise that I'm going to do a expeditiously extravagant job. I know what I'm good at. I'm good at telling stories. I'm good at writing. I'm good at expressing myself. So maybe being a career poet or a songwriter or even a screenwriter or something, that's probably where my goals would reach. But like I said, I still have to make ends meet. I still have responsibilities. And I'm going to say this because, like I said, I love my mother dearly. I appreciate her, all she's done for me. Because, like I said, this isn't the first time I had moved back in with my mother. Stepfather, who had passed in June. I said that again, June 1st. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I have a thing with spending money. Like, I would eat out, I would spend money on this, and so I need this, I'm gonna get this. And I'm like, why am I spending money on this? But it's also hard because, when you're living with somebody, you're really depending on them to make sure everything's taken care of. Because, like, for me, I'm paying, like, I pay rent. I help with the mortgage and the other bills. I have other responsibilities outside of the stuff around the house. And now that my stepfather's gone, I have to, find somewhere else to go. Because my mom was leaving as well. She wasn't paying. But it's not her responsibility to make sure I got somewhere to go. It's not her responsibility to make sure I have some money saved up or cleared up. But it's like, it gets difficult because I've prayed, I believed, I have faith, and I still have faith. And sometimes it gets very, very trying. It gets very, very difficult because we all have a job to do. The utility bills are astronomically high. And I understand with it being summertime, some bills are more higher than expected, more higher than it probably should be. And I'm sure the people who are responsible for taking the money and making those or setting the payments up, theirs are just as high as well. So, I mean, they can understand, but they still have a job to do. It's like, for me being a security, like, I'm a security officer, a security professional, and I understand sometimes people get lost. I understand sometimes people lose money. I understand sometimes people are in a tight spot, but I still have to do my job. I can have sympathy and compassion for people, but I can't sit here and accommodate people the way that I would if I was in that position to help. If I was in a position to help people, whether financial or just, advice, I would. So I think about that. And I talk about, my son a lot. I know I'm a father. I love my son dearly. And sometimes I get baby fever. Sometimes I want to have a life partner, a partner, a companion, all those things, but it still goes back into prioritizing. I'm not in a position to be taking care of somebody else when I'm struggling to even take care of myself. Like, I'm good, like, I'm happy, I got my life, I got breath in my lungs, but it's like, where do I go? I have somewhere to lay my head, I have somewhere to sleep, I have a car, I have a job, but where do I go from here? Like I said, I'm 39. I set some guidelines. I set some goals for when I'm 40. I know sometimes people come up, they get put into a tight spot. I know life sometimes happen to people. I know unfortunate things happen to people. I'm never a victim. I never played a victim. I know that any position that I'm in, I brought it upon myself. Any position that I'm in, wherever I'm at, God wants me to be there, because I do feel like if God wanted me to learn something and to get out of something, I will learn it. I need to learn it. Like I said, I have to pray. I have to stay faithful, and I have to continue to work. I work hard. Like, I go to work and don't really do anything, but I still work hard. Sometimes not doing anything is work. You got to stay up. You got to stay focused. You got to stay level-headed. So there's certain things that I think about, that I do, and I'm like, man, I'm jaded. It's like, when is my big break going to come? From, like, I can give you a whole rundown as far as, like, my life from the first memory I remember to now. It's like, I've always had a village. I've always had support. I always had family. I always had people that loved me, and I've always appreciated it. I'm grateful to be in the position that I'm in. This isn't me complaining. I'm just going to explain some things. But the thing, too, about it is, like, there's certain, like, without throwing people under the bus, it's like doing things because I can, not because I should. I've been that person. Like, I've been in a position to where I didn't have to buy this, but because I could, I could. Because I didn't have to do this, but because I could, I did it. So that's kind of how my life is. I'm in a position to where I don't necessarily have to, be on go all the time. And that was the thing. Like, so I never really thought like that. I always kind of been dependent on myself. Like I said, I stay with my mother, but I've contributed. I wasn't just freeloading. So it's like one job, one stream of income. Well, maybe more than one, but I got a full-time job, and I mean, it pays, but it's like there's other things that I have to do. Like, I was sitting here thinking, I said, man, let me get rid of these streaming platforms, and then let me get rid of the Apple Music. I thought about that many times, because, like I said, I got an iPhone. I feel like, Apple Music and iPhone users, I think that should be, like, free for people who actually have an iPhone. But, everything's money. Everything's a capitalism. So, I can't complain about things that, I don't have no control over that. That's not my thing. But, I wanted to really talk with y'all just to get some other things off my chest, you know, going back again to, you know, the dating life, dating history, the dating pool, you know, it's dry. It's really dry. And part of that could be me. I'll be honest, I'm afraid of rejection. I mean, I think that I'm very honest and vulnerable. I will say this as humbly as possible is I am charming, you know, because just based on what people tell me, I'm funny. I don't think I'm funny. I think I'm just truthful, but, you know, I'm funny or witty, you know, open and honest. You know, I'm very caring, very compassionate. And even though I don't have the body type for the perfect man, as women would probably say, I would probably think that my mentality would probably be of a perfect man. But of course, again, going back again to the ambition, I'm not as ambitious as I would like to be, because I know if I was ambitious as my aspirations were, there would have been a couple things I probably would have already had. Like, I'm not lazy, I'm just content. You know what I'm saying? So even when it comes to relationships, it's like, if we in the same room, if we in the same vicinity, you know, I might shoot my shot, I might not. Because even if I'm being honest, the majority of most of my adulthood, a lot of my relationships are from women that I've known from online or through someone. Because, you know, there's, like I said, I'm a online dater. I don't mind, you know, going online and, you know, meeting people. I think you just go what's comfortable. I think it's a little bit more comfortable when you're, you know, I'm a little bit more comfortable when I'm home. You know, I've always been a homebody, you know, just being a young man that went to school, came home, played with toys, ate food, napped and stuff. I would go outside and play with friends, but there wasn't really any girls part of my friend group growing up. I had a couple throughout the years, but it's like I didn't have a lot of you know, female friends until I got older, until I became an adult. And then even with that, when I was an adult, you know, some came, some went. You know, some stayed, some didn't. So, you know, dating has always been a thing. Has always been a thing where it's like, man, I've been married, and even to my detriment, even there, my fault. I'm not married now. But, you know, we all make decisions. Some decisions can affect us for the rest of our lives, and other decisions might slow us down. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning boundaries. I'm still learning different triggers. I'm still learning, you know, what I can bring to the table, what I want. Well, I know what I want. I know what I want, but it's almost like I'm still not, you know, 100% on the, like, I guess the ideal, I can't really explain it, but it's like, I know the type of woman that I want. I know the type of relationship that I want. I know the type of man that I want to be. I know the type of man that I am right now. And like I said, everything just has to fall into place. And, you know, sometimes it gets hard because I'm like, whenever if I'm, like, I have to probably directly talk to a woman. Like, I might have to actually go up to a woman and, like, approach her, go to her. Like, I can't send messages. I can't send texts and emojis and stuff because it's just going to get a like. It's just going to get a smiley face. But it's like, nah, I need directness. If I go to you, because this has happened recently, like if I come to you and I shoot my shot, if I ask you out in a upfront way, it's like, hey, look, I like you. Or if I say, do you got a dude? You know, that I actually have to be direct with that. Because it's clear that it's like I've been so afraid of rejection, I was just kind of like settling with, you know, people who might have already known me, people who liked me, and the feelings was mutual, because it's like I've hardly went up to random women and just asked them out. I think that, I mean, in some senses that's rude, but, you know, it's like, hey, I've always been the man who has to, like, we got to have a rapport. We got to have some type of relationship already. You know, so I always think, and then like when I think about the women that I've been involved with, maybe one that mattered, that when it comes to relationship, I'm thinking, maybe one that mattered didn't have children. Like I've been with women who had one child. I've been with women who had 2 children. I've been with women who had 5. So it's different things. Even in my marriage, like my ex-wife, she had 2 before she had my son. But see, like having children was never a problem for me. I think the thing with me is, if your children, I mean, some children, I mean, most children, just from my experience, don't listen. But if there's multiple men, or not, and I don't never really have to deal with the men, but it's like if your children are not as well behaved, it might become a problem for us. But that never been an issue. It's like I might have had one relationship where, you know, children might have been, you know, a obstacle. But again, you know, like I said, love conquers all. I still believe that love is all you need, but it just goes back again to what party, like the parties, each side has to want it. Anything can work out when 2 people want to work it out. I've said that multiple times. I remember when I was talking to this woman a couple years ago, and I've told her, I said, now, the devil's going to challenge us. We're going to go through some obstacles. We're going to go through some things. But if you truly want this relationship to work, it can work. And I even said that to another one. It's like, you know, we're going, like, I know my life so much. Sometimes it's like, even if I don't engage in it, think there's going to be challenges, because life has challenges. There's, like, every relationship is going to have obstacles, and I'm aware of that. And sometimes, though, because I'll be honest, I get clingy. I am a clingy man. I'm a needy man. But It's only for my woman. Like, I love being around my woman. I love spending time with my woman. I love loving on my woman. Like, if we not official, then we not official. But if we official, like, I'm a be on you. I'm a call you. I'm a text you. I'm a, be worrisome. Even like when I'm at work, it's like you're all I think about. Like I said, as a father, I think about my son. I think about my woman. I think about my, my life. I like every day. Because I'm not where I want to be in life, I'm always going to be thinking about this. And even reading the Way of a Superior Man, I got a different insight on it. I think the first chapter was saying, when you wait, you're wasting time, because it's like you're trying to wait for the perfect time, when the perfect time is never going to come, something to that manner. Like I said, my memory is terrible, like certain things. But it's like I've been such a lover boy for most of my life. Maybe 90% of my life, I've been a lover boy. From the time I was 14, at least, I've been a lover boy. I enjoy relationships. I love love. I might not have always led with love, though. I've tried to be the perfect partner. I tried to be the right partner. I tried to be I am who I am. Like, it's like I tried to be the best version of myself, mainly more when I'm in a relationship, because I know that relationships, it takes both people. Both people have to want it. And when you are in a relationship, you have to focus on your partner, and your partner has to focus on you. So when certain things aren't reciprocated, it will get noticed, and you will start paying attention to something that's lacking. It's easier said than done, but I've always kind of stressed that fact. And then also another thing, even when I think about the generational curses, that can tie in with relationships as well, where it's like, man, we always talk about how we're not our ancestors. And to me, I feel like it's a little disrespectful, because I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what the people who came before me wanted, or the people that came before me, desired. Because, like I said, like a lot of people in my knowledge, like when they inherited a house or some type of property, they sell it, or they don't keep it and they lose it or so. So it's like that. That's kind of how life is. Like for me, like I said this, like I would love to leave something for my son, but all I can say is that, the only thing my son's going to have is my last name. I don't know if I want to leave him any property. Like looking at it now, because like I said, my stepfather passed, and looking at how much stuff is going on now because my stepfather's gone, I'm like, man, I don't want my son to go through this. I won't want my family to go through this when I'm gone. And it's hard. I'm not going to be here to think about it, but it's hard. It's definitely hard. Sometimes I feel like crying, because I'm like, dang, like, you can plan for your death, like not plan for, but like you can make arrangements and make sure that, your people are, all set up and, good, but you don't never know when your last day is. You can be working out one day and then you have a stroke, have a heart attack, or just drop dead in the middle of working out, in the middle of dancing, in the middle of a shower. Like, things like this happens in real life. I don't know exactly how true it is, but I heard Elvis Presley died on the toilet. And then another gentleman, associate of mine who I met before, Q5, he had a stroke while he was performing at his event. So it's certain things that when people say I am not my ancestors, it's like, well, of course not. Because I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people was built differently back then. And I say this all the time. I could be a little sexist sometimes, but during slavery, and of course there was men and women both out there in the field doing things, but during slavery, no. Don't come down here. Don't come down here. Nope. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm at work, so you know how I do. Sometimes I'll be at work doing things, but like during slavery, during that time, there wasn't a lot of rights for women, and even after slavery, there wasn't a lot of rights for women. So, forgive me, ladies, if I make you feel unworthy or unqualified, because y'all are definitely qualified and y'all are definitely worthy. I personally just feel like there are certain jobs that I would rather not women do. But again, because there are men who won't do them, y'all will do them. And, I'm not going to, make a list. I mean, it's not really a long list, but it's just certain jobs that I'm like, man, I wouldn't want my woman doing it. Because to me, I feel like women, even though I feel like they don't have to just be in the kitchen, but I do feel like women, they should always be soft. They should always be feminine. They should always, be in their feminine energy. Maybe that's just the sucker and the gentleman in me, because I believe it's not about not being qualified. It's just certain jobs that are just more masculine. I wouldn't want my woman working in construction in the field with the boys. I wouldn't want my woman driving 18-wheelers across the country, loading, unloading things. Those are heavy duty jobs. But again, that's probably where my ignorance comes in. But like I said, I don't like the we are not our ancestors, because I can guarantee you that while your ancestors and your ancestors in America, I'm going to just leave it at that, your ancestors in America was too busy trying to survive, trying to see if they even going to get to see the next day than to worry about what you were doing. And even if we go further, thousands of years ago, a lot of us wouldn't have made it, honestly. A lot of us wouldn't make it past day one. I don't even know if I would make it past day one, because like I said, I don't like the heat. I've been in, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, but like again, I'm not, I don't like being forced to do anything. But again, I really don't know what I would or wouldn't be doing because it's a different time. Like there's a couple things that I did do that I didn't think about before, and things that I still haven't done. So it's like sometimes those type of ideas and thoughts is unnecessary. But moving forward, thinking about the things I've achieved in life, the things that I'm still working towards. Like I said, I am content with my life, but I still want more for my life. I feel like I've already lived 3 lifetimes. Like I had my son when I was 29. So it's like, man, before that, I was in D.C., the nation's capital, staying with my dad, just trying to get things in order. And I'm going to share this with y'all. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to share this with y'all. I never had more than $3,000 in my bank account altogether. I have at this point, I have multiple bank accounts, but I never had $3,000 simultaneously added together, nothing in my account. That's how paycheck to paycheck I've been living my life. Before my son, after my son, life has been lifing for me. And like I said, partially some of the things that I have done, some of the positions that I'm in my life right now is all me. Like, I don't blame nobody. Due to lack of ambition, if you will. So, blessed ones, let me say this before I get out of here, though. Today is the greatest gift. It's the greatest privilege you can ever have. Don't compare yourself to nobody else. Don't hypotheticalize your life. Don't live vicariously through nobody else. Run your race. Set goals. Take things one day at a time. And things will be okay. I don't give too much deep advice now. I know that there's a lot of people who, they don't like to take advice from people they feel like haven't really accomplished things. And I'm going to just say, because I am a man of God and I'm a man of faith, I trust God, I love God. Like, I feel I'm well accomplished. It's just a lot of things that's incomplete. I got everything I ever asked God for, He gave me. And it took some time, but He gave it to me. But like I said, I set deadlines for myself. I set goals for myself. And I think maybe, as time progresses, things will be that. But blessed ones, I just want y'all to just be better. I want for you what I want for myself. But like I said, I'm a very critical person. I don't mean to be as critical if I come off offensively. It's just because I believe that whatever you put your mind to, whatever you put your heart in, that you can achieve it. Sometimes it might take longer than others because we all have other circumstances and priorities, but I do believe in you just as much as I believe in myself. It gets disheartening sometimes because life happens and life is going to keep happening. So sometimes even focusing on one thing at a time gets hard because life is still going on. Because it's like, I remember when I was married and me and my wife, I think we've been evicted twice and just now got those off our records, but we've been evicted twice due to, lack of payments. It's hard sometimes. So that's why I always say, like, those who don't have children, take advantage of that while you can. Those who do, just remember, like, prioritize. And I understand that you got to get your money. I understand that you got to oblige. You got to accommodate your finances to whatever bill that you're paying. But it's like your children needs time with you. So, that's one thing that I struggled with when I was married. It's quality time with my family. Because where you don't get time at home, you're going to get time somewhere else. And then when you go through certain things, other things are going to happen. But that's for another time. So, blessed ones, any questions, suggestions, requests, y'all know what to do. But, as always, stay safe. Be prosperous, productive, and most of all, be positive. Thank you for listening.